Pogba got the maximum 4 years for testing positive for DHEA for a game where he didn't even play. Honestly, this is the most entertaining Premier League title race that I've seen in a very long time. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. We've seen Bayern Munich in this position before, so it's not far-fetched to think that somehow they could come back. Kylian Mbappe. He will show you that you gonna do that, Luis Enrique? You gonna play with me, Luis Enrique? You gonna bench me? Hello! What up, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Evergreen. It's your boy Elischa here, and if you're tuning in for the very first time, if you've never seen me before, welcome. And if you're a recurring viewer, if you've seen me, whether it's on socials, if you've seen me on other platforms before, welcome back. It's great to see you. It's great to be here with you. I'm happy that you're listening. Make sure that y'all subscribe to the Gold channel. Make sure that y'all tune into Evergreen on all platform, man. Thank y'all so much for being here with me. This is gonna be a great journey. We're gonna talk, obviously, about football. I'm super excited to be embarking on this new show with y'all. There's a lot of things that I'm excited about. Obviously, there's a lot of different segments that we're gonna be introducing on the show. So if you're listening, some of that, you're gonna have to make your way over to YouTube so you can visually experience it, because some of those things, you can listen to it, but it's just not going to hit the same unless you're watching. But yeah, if you're an auditor, if you're somebody who's listening right now on any platforms in audio format, I appreciate you. If you're watching, I appreciate you. If you're experiencing this through the clips, I appreciate you. This is going to be dope, man. Just to give y'all, actually, before we even start, just to give y'all a rundown of how this show is going to be, we're going to talk about the football. We're going to talk about some of the most interesting headlines of the past week, and also do a little bit more of engagement with you guys, answer some of your questions. There's a lot of you who've been asking a lot of things, which I'm going to answer right on here. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be as open as I can be on the internet without getting canceled, but which I can't control. You know what I'm saying? If I get canceled for something too, or if they attempt to cancel me, I know that the cousins, I know that the audience, you good people, y'all gonna back me up, right? Y'all go back? Okay. I hope y'all gonna back me up. But let's get it started. The Premier League race is heating up. This past weekend, Liverpool played versus Man City at Anfield. Watched the full game, and honestly, this is the most entertaining Premier League title race that I've seen in a very long time. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Liverpool played Man City at Anfield. John Stones put City up 1-0, and honestly, City weren't playing that well to start the game. Like, Liverpool looked really comfortable. They looked like they had their 12th man. Obviously, the cop was in full effect, but out of nowhere, John Stones comes in, scores the first goal, and changes the vibes of thing. And Liverpool stayed composed. They kept attacking, and it was very clear that the result wasn't gonna be as it stood. It wasn't gonna stay 1-0, which it ended up obviously not happening. McAllister from the spot, penalty kick, equalized it in the second half, and that's how the game ended. And at some point, De Bruyne got subbed off, which it seemed like he really didn't like that. I think a lot of pages made that a bigger deal than it actually was, the fact that De Bruyne got subbed off, because he wasn't happy about it. But what player in a big game like that is going to be happy about getting subbed off? But I've seen so many people posting like, ooh, De Bruyne didn't look too happy. He had a weird interaction with Pep after he got subbed off. But it's just like, no player wants to leave an important game like that, especially when you're one of the main components of the team. But it's also seeing Pep go and address it and go talk to him as he's sitting down and they're having a little back and forth. It just goes to show that, like, a coach like Pep Guardiola don't got to tell you nothing once he subs you off. That's just it. Final decision, you come off. This is not a Sarri and Kepa situation where he could go back and forth with the manager. No. Pep, I feel, in a situation like that, would go up on the pitch and drag you himself out of the game. So when he subbed De Bruyne out, they had a little exchange. He went on the bench. He came to De Bruyne, to Kevin, and they spoke it out. And they went back to the game. And honestly, that just goes to show how much respect he has for Kevin De Bruyne, and which he's earned. He's a great manager, but De Bruyne is an amazing player and one of the biggest Man City legends of all time. So obviously they have a little more leeway to have those back and forths rather than a newer player. But yeah, there was not much to that. It was a good game. It was an intense game, obviously, because the stakes are high. Arsenal just got their 3 points for the weekend. And now, as it stands in a Premier League table, Arsenal have 64 points. Both Man City and Liverpool got 63. And the race is tight. It is tight. We got 9 games left in a Premier League season. All 3 teams right now are in the Champions League, so they have other trophies to be fighting for. But it doesn't seem, honestly, when a lot of people are talking about, predictions, Arsenal's going to win this, Man City's going to win this, Liverpool is going to win that, it's really not that clear-cut for me. Like, when you're looking at these teams, they're all very solid. They're all very well-balanced. I really believe that this is going to go down to the final match of the season. I really believe that neither of these 3 teams, neither of these 3 giants are going to let this league just slip up from their fingers so easily. I do think it's going to be a dogfight. And we're in for a very interesting end of the season. I'm super excited to see how the Premier League is going to end. I'm excited to see who's going to get that top 4 spot. Is it going to be Aston Villa? Is it going to be Tottenham? Somehow, is Man United going to make a comeback and make it the top 4? I really don't think so. I do think Manchester United are going to finish outside the top 4. But when it comes to those top 3 and who's going to actually win the race, Man City, Liverpool are putting in a show, and I'm loving every single minute of it. Leaving the Premier League and moving on to the Champions League, and it's coming down to the wire right now. The group stage has ended. Obviously, we're in a round of 16, and some teams have now qualified for the quarterfinals, including Real Madrid, who played versus Leipzig, and that match ended 1-1, 2-1 in aggregate, so Real were able to move through. During that game, really, Orban and Vinicius both scored on each side, one for Leipzig, obviously, one for Real. And honestly, they had a weird interaction. The only notable thing about that match to me is the fact that Vinicius choked Willie and didn't get a red card for it, and that made headlines. And a lot of people are talking about the fact that Real is getting special privileges, and I don't think this is necessarily a Real thing, honestly. Even as a Barca fan, I just feel like this was a moment where he got away with something that happened in the moment. I don't know if the ref just wasn't looking or what the case may be, but I don't think that Real have been getting especially privileged during this season. So I do think that that was, other than the fact that, it was a balanced match. They came away with a draw. On aggregate, Real won. Leipzig is not a soft team. They're not a light team. They're not what I call a feather team. Like, they're not light. Okay, they are heavy hitters who can beat on a right day. When they're on it, they can beat any team in Europe. A team like Leipzig, I really believe that. So I think Real Madrid got off with a breather on this one. I definitely think that it's going to be a dogfight from this point on because there's a lot of teams in the Champions League right now who won it. But yeah, other than that altercation from Vinicius, there wasn't much to discuss about that match itself. Moving on to PSG versus Real Sociedad on aggregate 4-1, but that match, day 1, 2-1. A brace from none other than Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe scores a brace for PSG to move them through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now, off rip, this is a big, hey now, remember who I am moment from Mbappe. He's letting everybody know right now. He's letting every single person know in the world that, hey, yes, these rumors and these talks are happening of me going to Real Madrid, but remember, it doesn't matter if I'm getting invited by the president of France to dinner. It don't matter what it is. On the pitch, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. On the pitch, I'm a dog. On the pitch, I'm going to put in work. On the pitch, I will put the ball in the back of the net. That's what he does. And that's the thing with a player like that. That's the thing with a player that got that dog in him. He will prove you time and time again, as he did in the World Cup final. He will prove you time and time again that with all the side talks, this is what I get paid for. This is why I get paid the big money. This is why Los Blancos want me. Because I will go ahead through all of that after getting benched for 2 matches. 2 matches he got benched. And one of the matches, he was substituted during halftime to where he had to watch the rest of the game in the stands with his mom. He will show you that you gonna do that, Luis Enrique? You gonna play with me, Luis Enrique? You gonna bench me? You gonna bench me? I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get to the Champions League and I'm gonna do my thing, score a brace. And that's what that man does. And this is why you cannot, I don't care if you're an opponent. I don't care if you're an opposing fan. You cannot deny that boy Kylian Mbappe really got that GOAT gene in him, that clutch gene, because he will perform at the highest level every single time and tune out all the noise. And time again, he's showing us that he's just got it in him. Pause. Wait a minute. If the rumors are true, if Kylian Mbappe is actually going to go to Real Madrid, it makes sense that PSG now want to acquire a player like Lamine Yamal. Like it makes complete sense that they want to snatch that young boy from Barcelona. Obviously, if Kylian is performing the way he is right now, he's basically, if he does go to Real Madrid, he's on a farewell tour. This is his last dance. If he's going to leave, he's going to go out with a bang. He's a competitor. Obviously, he wants to win. So he's going to want to give them, or at least for himself, show that, yo, this is what I was able to do. This is why y'all didn't put the right pieces around me to make it happen sooner. So I'm going to put my all into this, win this trophy, and I'm out. However, for Ligue 1, it's a huge loss. Kylian Mbappe, the attention that he brings, the quality that he brings to that league is undeniable. And if he leaves, it's not going to be good for PSG. It's not going to be good for the league. So obviously, they don't want him to leave. But if he's going to leave, they're going to try to get the next best, most exciting young player to come in. Next up, we have Man City versus Copenhagen. Match ended 3-1. That's 6-2 in aggregate. And that was light work, honestly, for Man City. We don't expect any less from them. Again, no disrespect to Copenhagen, but the way that City team's been playing is just there's a lot of teams that just can't hold up. And Copenhagen was one of them. Also, Bayern Munich, 3-0 versus Lazio, 3-1 in aggregate. Harry Kane got a brace. And honestly, they needed that. Bayern Munich needed that win. Harry Kane needed that brace. They've been getting a lot of bad results in the Bundesliga right now. We're going to talk about Leverkusen soon. But they needed that glimpse of hope. They really need that glimpse of hope. Just for Harry Kane, I'll say this. Just for Harry Kane. Because the Bayern team itself has been dominating for over a decade. They've won the treble. They've won multiple trebles. They've won everything that they could have won. They've been dominated in the Bundesliga for years. So it's just like there's not really a loss except for Harry Kane. So if they don't win trophies this season, the only unfortunate thing is just that Harry left Tottenham to win trophies and he might not get any this season. So with that being said, we're going to see how the rest of the Champions League goes for the rest of the season. My predictions for this upcoming week, obviously we got some more matchup. We got Arsenal versus Porto. I'm predicting 2-0 Arsenal for them to move through to the quarterfinals. Barca versus Napoli, I'm predicting a 1-0, a calm little 1-0 for Barca, also to move through. I do think that Napoli is a very strong team. Osimhen, that boy will always surprise you in the most unexpected moments. So you cannot let up. You cannot. I don't care if it's at home, wherever it is. I don't care if we don't have a stadium. Like, make it feel like home. Make it feel like home, Barcelona, because Napoli is not a small team. They're not a weak team. They're not a feather team. Dortmund versus PSV. I'm predicting 2-1 for Dortmund to move through. For Atletico Madrid, I do think that it's going to be a dogfight. Atletico's gotten some bad results lately. Inter got the best of Atletico in the first leg, so it's 1-0 right now. I do think it's going to be 1-1 for Inter to move through. I do think this is gonna be the most balanced game of this stage of this week in the Champions League. So definitely check that out. And if I'm wrong about my predictions, mind your business. No, I didn't. I never said any of it, and you can't prove that I did, even if the footage is here. What's crazy about the Champions League, honestly, is that I've gotten back into betting. Yes, I'm back on FanDuel. If you didn't know, I was into FanDuel for a while. I was betting consistently. I even tried Prize Picks, DraftKings, MGM. Like, if there's a betting app out there, Elischa has tried it. And I was just catching L so much. I don't understand what was going on. And it was the stupidest things. The stupidest things were happening for me to be losing my parlays. And so I just took a long break. I came back again. I got a little win or whatever. I got a little win, so I was feeling myself. So now I'm back into the betting world. But this past week in the Champions League completely screwed me over. I had a 7-leg parlay, for the Champions League. Erling Haaland to have one or more shots on target. He got that. Matheus Nunes to have one or more shots. All he needed was one shot. Couldn't give me that. Vinicius Jr. to have one or more shots on target. He got that. Jude Bellingham to have one or more shots on target. Jude's been scoring all season. All he's been doing is shooting. He's not even a forward. He's a midfielder. He's been scoring like nobody else. The one time I bet for Jude Victor Bellingham to get one shot on target, one, he couldn't even give me that. Messed up my parlay. Vinicius Jr. to have two or more shots. Vinicius scored that match. He scored. All he had was one shot. So if you ever, and this is not to scare anybody from betting, because you pick your moments. Obviously, some games, they're going to give you 2, 3, 4 shots. However, for me, in one parlay to not be able to get Vinicius to get 2 shots or Jude Bellingham to get 1 shot on target, nasty work. Nasty work. You guys saddened me. You saddened me. And guess what? I haven't learned my lesson yet. I'm going to go back to betting this week. I'm betting. All these predictions I just told y'all, hell yeah, I'm betting. I'm betting on those. And if I win, y'all going to know because I just told you. Now, before we continue to the next topics, this is the part of the show where your boy steps a little bit outside of the studio. Now, one of the biggest questions that I've gotten since announcing Evergreen is, what does this mean? What does Evergreen mean? What is the definition of it? Why did you name the show Evergreen, Elischa? Why did you do this? Well, as your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I felt it was my duty to go out in the streets of New York City and talk to the people, educate the people, find out what they know so we can have a learning experience and find out, what does Evergreen mean? See for yourself. Now, it was very important for this that I speak to different types of people. I didn't want to be biased and just speak to just young or old. I wanted to touch everybody and find out what they thought about Evergreen. Question, what's Evergreen to you?
Yeah.
Do you know what the word Evergreen mean?
Evergreen.
Positivity.
Okay.
Giving back.
Where you got that from?
My brain.
Like some environmental thing, like, I don't know.
It has to be environmental.
She got it wrong. Okay, she said give her 1 second. We'll wait. She did not come back. She actually called security, and me and my videographer had to run out of Target to escape them. Yeah, so.
If I know what evergreen means?
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't gonna tell you.
I first think of like a tree, like an evergreen tree or a plant that stays green through the winter.
Okay.
But also using it like, something that is like always good or it doesn't fade.
There you go. That's exactly it. You got it. Evergreen is something that's everlasting, something that's forever, something like that could stand the test of time, right?
Makes sense.
What's something in your life? What's something for you that's evergreen, that's everlasting, that's forever, that stands the test of time?
The love for my mother.
Woo! Yo, stop. I should do that. The love for your mother. Okay, why is that evergreen?
Because I'm going to forever love her. That's my girl.
I love that. What's something that's evergreen to you?
The key of keeping my determination.
Ooh, she's determined all the time.
The love I had for these 2 girls.
Wow.
Whatever.
I just finished doing a whole lot of time in prison, man, I'm just out here trying to make me a few.
Well, welcome home, man.
I'm just trying to make me some prison. Yeah, return it back to society. That's what it is, I belong out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you look forward to most to coming back out here when you were locked up?
Family, of course, your family. Being able to be at those Thanksgivings, those parties, birthdays, seeing the family grow, man.
But especially living in Brooklyn, where there's a lot of like community spirit and like mutual aid organizations and people who do a lot of work to try to connect people, you know, I feel like that is something that is evergreen.
Evergreen, the ganja.
The ganja.
Yeah, man.
You gotta get
The weed.
Why is it evergreen
It's
to you?
evergreen for me, you know, because that is health and it is health and wealth, you know.
Yes,
and
sir.
the green represent health and wealth. It's chlorophyll, the body need of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Anything green is very vital to the body because it's chlorophyll and the body needed chlorophyll, you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I put the people of them on it all the time, you know what I'm saying, King? Let them use a lot of green stuff, you know? The way of life, people, you understand? If we don't stay in the green, if we're not staying in the green, we're not gonna reach nowhere. Our life gonna just end right there, you understand? So for we to go on and on and on and on, we got to stay with the green forever.
Yeah.
You understand?
Go on.
The green ganja. You understand?
Well, if you didn't know before, that is what evergreen means. It just means everlasting. It means something that doesn't depend on time. That doesn't depend on recency, right? This is the energy that I want for this show. I want this to be everlasting. I want you to be able to watch this with your grandkids in 20 and 25 years, and it still feels relevant, even if we're talking about current events. Obviously, that's not all we're going to be talking about. There's going to be a lot of other adventures that I'm going to be going on every single week. Other than what's happening currently in football, I'm going to engage with football fans, with players, with so many different people within the football industry, and I can't wait to embark on these journeys with you guys. But back into the football, Bayer Leverkusen are now first place in the Bundesliga. Xabi Alonso's team is first place in the Bundesliga. They have 67 points. Bayern Munich are second with 57 points. Stuttgart got 53, and Dortmund are at fourth place with 47 points. And right now, as it stands, it's looking like Leverkusen are going to do it. I'm not going to lie to you. It's looking like Leverkusen are going to get the job done. They have a very well-balanced team. I think everybody's been anticipating this. I think everyone has been waiting for the day. Who is it going to be that dethrones Bayern Munich? Is it going to be Dortmund? Is it going to be Mönchengladbach? Is it going to be Leipzig? You know, all these teams at some point had a chance. No one has been able to do it. The season's not over yet. There's 10 matches left in the Bundesliga season. So anything can still happen. But as it stands, Leverkusen look like, obviously they're the favorite, but they actually look like they can go the distance. I know there was an interview with Xhaka recently where he said, now he's on Leverkusen, and he said, this happened last season when I was at Arsenal. You know, we were ahead. We had a double-digit lead on everybody else, and Man City ended up still winning the league. So he, more than anyone else on that team, knows what it's like to have a lead and let the league slip away from your fingers. So they're definitely, he's expressed that they're staying focused and that they're just trying to take it game by game and ensure that they lock this in. Last time Bayern Munich didn't win a Bundesliga championship, Gangnam Style became the first YouTube video to get 1 billion views. Michael Phelps became the most decorated Olympian of all times. Jay-Z and Beyonce had Blue Ivy, and now she's performing on tour with Beyonce, which is crazy. The first Avengers movies came out, and One Direction looked like this. So, yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a very, very long time since they haven't won. But the question for this is, and y'all can answer this in the comments, can Bayern Munich actually steal this from Leverkusen like they did to Dortmund last season, like they've been doing time and time again for over a decade now, and become German champions once again? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I have been itching to get to this couch so I can tell you guys about this, so we can discuss Paul Pogba's situation. Now, if you haven't seen, Paul Pogba, it's been announced that Paul Pogba has been banned from football for 4 years for doping. And if you don't know what that means, is essentially in August of 2023, after a Juventus versus Udinese game, Paul got a random drug test, and it was found that there was a substance called DHEA that he tested positive for. And essentially, DHEA is on the list by the World Anti-Doping Agency, aka Jada Waiter. No, it's just Waiter. It's not Jada Waiter. But according to the World Anti-Doping Agency, DHEA is forbidden, right? It's considered a performance enhancer, and if it's found in your system as an athlete, there's going to be a penalty, and the maximum penalty for doping, for having a substance such as DHEA in your system, is 4 years. Paul received the maximum sentence, right? And I'm going to break this down for you guys because as soon as I found out the news, the dots didn't connect for me, right? The math wasn't mathing. So I did a little bit of research. And it turns out DHEA stands for dihydroepiandrosterone. 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 I could barely even say the damn word, but DHEA essentially is a hormone produced by the body's adrenal glands. The body uses DHEA to make androgen and estrogens, the male and female sex hormones. DHEA levels peak at about 25, then go down steadily as you get older. So obviously, as you get older, it goes down. Some people take it as a dietary supplement to raise up their hormone levels, right? Because the older you get, the less of it you have, which I can understand how, right? Technically, this can be considered performance enhancer, right? Because if as you're aging, the natural levels of it in your body goes down. If you take it as a supplement, it might give you an edge over the competition. Looking on, and this is here. This is the direct source from the World Anti-Doping Agency's website. It says, in black and white, the literature of the ergogenic effects of DHEA intake is nevertheless very scant, and to our knowledge, none of the studies has presented evidence that DHEA use improves athletic performance. This is from the website of the World Anti-Doping Agency, the governing body that literally regulates what you can and can't consume as an athlete. On their website, it says that there's no evidence that shows that There's no evidence that shows that it actually enhances athletic performance. Yet, Paul Pogba got the maximum 4 years. 4-year sentence. 4 years. For testing positive for DHEA for a game where he didn't even play. He didn't play. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I cannot tell you right now. I can't tell you I have my suspicions, but I can't tell you for sure right now why Paul Pogba received such a harsh sentence, because it is harsh. He received the maximum sentence for doping, 4 years. 4 years for testing positive for DHEA after a match where he didn't even play. We didn't even get to see. They didn't even give us a chance to see whether or not his performance was enhanced. That boy was warming the bench on a cold day. It was August. It wasn't a cold day. He'll be 34 by the time this sentence ends. That's absurd. 4 years of not playing high-level professional football. He might as well just retire. He did come out with a statement and say that he finds this judgment to be unfair and that they will be appealing for it. They will be appealing the verdict and trying to at least either get a lighter sentence or appealing to get it completely revoked. We'll definitely stay tuned, and I will keep updating you guys. But this is why it's important to do your research, because if I didn't do the research, all I would have seen, all the titles, all the media is saying is that Paul Pogba has been banned for doping, right? And nobody's looking into what is he? Is he taking hard drugs? Like, what is he actually being charged with? What was in his system? And when you look into it, you find out that it's actually harmless, and this man got a very unfair sentence. And yeah, we're gonna keep being updated as things goes of the Paul Pogba situation. But I hope it works out for the best, and I hope that that man gets to come back to football and finish his career with dignity. The streets will never forget Paul Pogba. I don't care what y'all say. The streets will never forget Paul Labille Pogba. They won't. That man is a legend. This episode of Evergreen is brought to you by Mum Kremas. Now, if you don't know what Kremas is a traditional Haitian drink. It's made out of rum, condensed milk, coconut, and Mum Kremas makes some of the best cremas I have ever had in my life, man. It's creamy. It got the right amount of rum in it. Drink responsibly, 21 and older, obviously, all that good stuff. But Mum Kremas is absolutely delicious, and they don't just make the coconut version. They make chocolate flavor, they make strawberries, they make passion fruit flavor. Traditionally, it's Kremas is a coconut-based thing, but they add their little twist to it, which I think is super creative, and it helps, to invite a bigger audience. So big shout out to Mum Kremas for sponsoring this episode of. Big shout out to big shout out to Mum Kremas. A lot of people in Haiti drink this during the holidays, but honestly, if you love Kremas, you drink it anytime during the year. Yeah, man, Evergreen supports local businesses, supports Haitian businesses, and you should too. Shout out to Mum Kremas. Get you some. Balotelli is back making headlines again for all the wrong reasons. What's wrong with homie? Mario is a legend. Honestly, he is a legend, but that dude is always getting in trouble for something, right? And this time he didn't really get in trouble, but a video came out of him in the locker room. Yes, he's still playing. Yes, Balotelli is still playing. Right now he's in Turkey. He's playing for Demispor. And there's a video that came out of him in the locker room throwing one of those little mini dynamites, and he just threw it on the ground and it popped. And this is, yo, bro, have you learned nothing from the incident with the fireworks? If y'all remember back in the days, Balotelli blew up his bathroom with fireworks. Like, this is this is real. This dude, a grown man, this dude blew up his bathroom with fireworks. To the point where at the time he was still playing for Man City, and he was forced to do fireworks safety ads to show that, he's learned his lesson and he's a changed man or whatever, to not incite people to do the same thing, because he literally blew up his bathroom with fireworks. And now he's back playing with fire, no pun intended. Literally, he's playing with fire again. This dude he's a Dennis Rodman of football. He's a Dennis Rodman of football. He moves to the beat of his own drum. He does whatever he wants, and he's a baller too. Well, obviously not so much anymore, but he's got football running through his veins, and we love Balotelli, but please stay safe and stop terrorizing people in your locker room. Stop terrorizing your teammates. I can't condone behavior like this because it's just, fireworks are dangerous. You gotta use fireworks responsibly. And I can't condone this. I just can't condone it. It's irresponsible. Also in the news, Nike has officially released the Lebron and Liverpool collab. Now, obviously, this makes a ton of sense because LeBron James used to be, and yes, he used to be an investor, a stakeholder in Liverpool back in 2011. Most famously, the story has gone viral multiple times, but back in 2011, LeBron invested into Liverpool. He bought 2% of the company for $6.5 million. And obviously, years later, as Liverpool gets better and better, as they start winning more games, winning more titles, bringing in players such as Mohamed Salah and elevating the stature of the club, they were evaluated in 2022. They were valuated at about $4.4 billion, which made his profit margin on his initial investment to be about $45 million. So he made great profit on his investment like 10 years prior. But he essentially exchanged his 2% stake in Liverpool for 1% in Fenway Sports Group, which is the funding group that owns Liverpool. So LeBron obviously constantly, maneuvering through the business world, obviously continuing to do those business moves, those mogul moves, and pushing the boundaries as to what players are into. He obviously has Marvin Carter as a business partner, as someone who's helped them invest over the years and making those smart decisions. So, only time will tell if that investment in Fenway Sports Group, I mean, they have like the Boston Red Sox, they have a lot of other teams that they own whose value have skyrocketed since they've taken over. So obviously they're doing something correct that's elevating the value of these teams. And yeah, but the LeBron x Liverpool Nike collab is officially here, and I'm not mad at it. Some of these jerseys, they look good. I'm looking at the black and white ones. I'm liking the message, the strive for greatness that they're kind of embedded within the design of the jerseys. And personally, I really like these moments. I love when other sports coincide with football, other aspects of life. This is the definition of evergreen. This is evergreen. That Nike Liverpool LeBron collab, that's the identity of evergreen right there, is the intersection of so many things. And I feel like this is something that's gonna be eternal. So this is something that'll live further beyond this moment right now. Like, this has nothing to do with whether Liverpool is doing well or not. LeBron is still a legend. Liverpool is still a historic club. So for years to come, this collab is going to make sense. And I can't wait to see what more they have in store. Shout out to my boy Uzi Footy, who was a part of the rollout for that campaign, who's doing his thing out there, doing amazing, amazing content. But yeah, I love it when all of these companies, especially with the news that have been coming out with Nike lately, that Adidas is kind of overtaking again in the football space. Nike spent so much time dominating, obviously still having players like Ronaldo, like Mbappe, like Haaland, but they've been dropping a lot of players also over the years. They've lost Neymar. They've lost certain teams. Right now, it's looking like they're going to part ways with Barcelona. So Nike is definitely on shaking ground when it comes to football, which I don't think is a great position to be 2 years prior to a World Cup that's coming to the U.S. Nike is a U.S. company. So I do think that they do have 2 years to try and to start getting things together so that they can find back their spot within the football space. But right now, Adidas is dominating. New Balance is surprisingly finding some good ways to integrate themselves. Skechers are the main sponsor for Harry Kane right now. He's a Skechers athlete, which I would have never guessed in a million years, but now they're also sponsoring rappers like Snoop Dogg. So who knows? Skechers, somebody behind the scenes at Skechers is doing all the right things in terms of their marketing, and I'm here for it. This is the part of the show where I tap in with my favorite people, which is y'all, the people watching, the people supporting, the people liking, the people subscribing and listening to Evergreen. And I ask y'all on socials to ask me questions that you would like for me to answer. And we're going to start right now with at N8V_2006 says, who do you think is going to win the Prem this season? Honestly, this is a complete guess. This is a complete guess because as it stands right now, 64 points for Arsenal, 63 points for Man City and Liverpool. Anybody who tells you, I don't care if you're an ex-player, if you're a manager, if you're whoever, anybody who tells you they know for sure who's going to win the Premier League is lying to you. They're dead lying. It is too close to call. All three teams are full of ballers. They're full of dogs in them. You can't tell me specifically that you know who's going to win the Premier League. But I would like to see Arsenal win it. Yes, Manchester City have won it in the past year. They won it last season, right? The years before, Liverpool's won it too. I want to see Arsenal after all these years. I like Arteta as a manager. I like this Arsenal team. I want to see Saka lift that Premier League trophy. So I like to say, do I know for sure who's going to win the Prem? No. Who do I want to win? Arsenal. And I've clowned them over the years so much that at this point it's just like, y'all are doing well. You got over the Arsene Wenger era. I want to see Arsenal lift that trophy, man. I think they deserve it. And yeah, I hope that that's what happens at the end of the season. Moving on to the next question. At P.O23 says, who are your favorites to win the Champions League? Football Club Barcelona. Come on, Barca. I don't care. I'm the Lulu. I don't care. I don't care if we don't have no money. I don't care if we had no players. I don't care if we had babies. I don't care if we had Kai Cenat at number 9 up front. Drewski at the back playing center. I don't care. I don't care if we had Mickey Mouse as goalkeeper. I'm still going to say it. Barcelona winning the Champions League. That's what I'm going for. And I know y'all gonna be like, no, realistically, for real though, I am dead serious. Barca's winning the Champions League. Barca's winning La Liga too. I don't care what y'all say. I don't care what y'all. It's never a fair conversation. It's never a fair conversation. If y'all ask me, I will say it every time. Even if we're in Europa League, even if we're eliminated, I will say somehow, some way they're gonna make their way back. No, honestly though, I do think Barca could win it. I do think it's that type of year. Yes, Man City can make a good one. Arsenal are balling out right now. Real Madrid are solid. There's other teams. I'm not saying that they're exempt from winning it this season. However, I do believe in my heart and soul that Barcelona can win it. Yes, I'm biased. Yes, this is expected. Final question. At 610 Van 1, which is Giovanni. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Giovanni, man. Appreciate you for watching. Appreciate you for submitting a question. Giovanni says, do you remember your first ever skit? What was it and how did you even start? My first ever skit. I will say I've had a lot of skits. Some of my first ones, I don't remember the very, very first. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But if y'all can find, maybe I'll do a giveaway. The first person to go all the way back in my videos, whether it's on TikTok or on Instagram, and find what the very first skit is and comment it below, I'm going to do a giveaway of a kit or a ball or something. I'll figure out specifically what I'm going to give away. But what I remember, I remember doing a skit on Liverpool back in the days of... it was like, I think this was the days where Liverpool were really balling out so much that I was essentially like, yo, it's like they're in a spa. Like they're just chilling. And that's a lot of how I came up with the videos. It's like, yo, what does this look like? Like Liverpool are balling out. They're essentially just chilling. So what can I do to represent them chilling? Putting cucumber on their eyes, white towel over their face, a mask on their face is just like, yo, they're at the spa, they're chilling, they're eating the cucumber. Life is good. You know, that was one of the first one. But the first skit I'll say that popped off was the How to Catch a Football fans. If y'all some OGs and y'all remember How to Catch a Football fans, right before the pandemic, man, 2020, on the roof of my last place, the last place I used to live at, man. Yeah, just on the roof, playing these characters, essentially taking different aspects of being a football fan that, like, if somebody was chasing after you as a football fan, what could they yell out to make you come out of hiding? That was the whole concept for the video, and that's the very first video that ever popped off for me, and that triggered just that chain reaction of everything else that's been happening up until this day. So How to Catch a Football Fan is a goated one. That's because of everything else that has started. That's my favorite skit series of all time. Obviously, you got the love language. You have everything. You have the Champions League hotels. But How to Catch a Football fans, man, that's the one. And before we leave here, every single week, I will leave y'all with the quote of the week. The quote of the week for this week is, "One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to try to avoid it." I said that, but essentially what it means is a lot of times that monster that's chasing you, that you're trying to escape from, you're only getting closer to it by trying to escape it. So the fact of the matter is we all have these moments. We all have those demons. We all have those things that are inevitable that we're going to go through. Those people that are going to cross our path, that are going to enter our lives, that are going to shake things up. But you cannot avoid them. You got to face them. You got to look them in the eyes. And in football terms, a player like, for example, like Coutinho, right, who for so long was a baller for Liverpool, that he was one of the staples. He looked like he was going to retire a Liverpool legend, right? But he wasn't getting the trophies. And at some point, he just couldn't take it anymore. So he left. He went to Barca. Things didn't pan out the way he went to. As soon as he left to go to Barca, he went to Bayern. Liverpool changed completely. Liverpool started winning. They got the Champions League. They got the Premier League, right? And the face of the franchise completely changed, and he didn't get to benefit in any of that success, although he played a huge role in building that team and growing with the fan base. But he was trying to escape that demon of, oh my God, I might finish my career without having a trophy, that he ended up attracting to him exactly what he was afraid of. The best things in life are on the other side of fear. So don't be afraid when those monsters come, man. Like just stare at them, stand tall with your head held high, with your chin up, say it with your chest, talk to him with your chest, and make sure that you face that destiny, man, because it will come. It's inevitable, but you have it in you to overcome it. You have all the resources in you and around you. It's all inside of you, right? All these lessons from Kung Fu Panda. There's no special sauce. There's no special recipe. There's no dragon scroll. All of it that you need to face those adversities, to face those scary moments, to face that destiny that might seem so overwhelming, it's all inside of you. So don't be scared to face it. You got it. But with that being said, it's been your boy Elischa for Evergreen, the very first episode, and I cannot wait for episode 2. I cannot wait to continue to share this journey with y'all, to continue to talk about football, to continue to go on adventures all over the US, all over New York, all over the world. We're going to travel. We're going to tap in your city. So definitely watch out for that. I can't wait to continue to embark on this journey, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I appreciate y'all too. Make sure y'all download. Make sure y'all give the show that 5-star rating, man, so we can shoot up the ranks, so we can get sponsors, so we can get this show really skyrocketing and taking off. I appreciate y'all so much, and I will see y'all on the next episode of Evergreen. Peace.